and welcome to another episode of SCFGLive. That was me, Namisha, subbing in for Mr. Music for our theme song, but he'll be back soon to play our regular theme song. Don't you worry. I also heard Hannah is out having some fun in the sun. Hey, like we've been learning in the past few episodes, the sun is probably radiating some heat energy and keeping her toasty warm, but we'll have to ask her when she comes back. Well, scientists, I'm super excited for this episode because I have two special guests joining us today. And you know what? I just can't control my excitement anymore. Let's bring our first guest in.
Hola, Namisha, and hello, scientists at home. I'm Evelyn, and I work with Hannah and Namisha at Science Club for Girls. It's so good to be here with you today, and I'm so excited to learn more about science today.
Oh, me too, Evelyn, and it's so good to have you here.
Well, Namisha, before we get into today, I had a question for you. So I was cooking a meal for my family, and the recipe called for melted butter. So I popped some butter into the microwave, but every time I opened the microwave to see the butter, it wasn't melted, and it took a really long time. So I was wondering if there's maybe a faster way to melt the butter so I can do this next time.
Wow, what a coincidence, because our guest from National Grid last episode, Shalea and her daughter Malaya, showed us a really cool experiment about this. Last week, we saw our super scientists put butter on 3 different types of spoons, a plastic spoon, a wooden, and a metal spoon. And they laid these into a pot of hot boiling water. And then Shalea and Malaya noticed that the butter on the metal spoon was melting really, really fast and much quicker than the plastic and wooden spoon. So Evelyn, why do you think this happened?
Well, when I was making the sauce for my pasta in a separate pot that was made out of metal, the handle of this metal pot was really hot. So maybe this had to do with how the heat affects metal.
Great job! You're exactly right, Evelyn. Heat, which we know is a form of energy, transfers from the hot stove to the boiling water, up to the metal handle, and then finally to our hand once we touch that handle. That's why it's super important to be really careful when we touch a metal pot, because metal is what we call a really good conductor. And a conductor is an object whose molecules absorb heat really, really quickly.
Wow, that's so cool. And now I know why the handle on the pot that I used to cook my sauce in was so hot. The heat molecules must have transferred to the metal's hand molecules and caused it to heat up. Science is so amazing because we get to learn something new every day.
I totally agree with you, Evelyn. Well, everyone, I'm very excited to talk about our guest for today's episode, our other guest for today's episode. We have a group from Boston University called BU Engineers Without Borders to teach us all about engineering.
I'm so excited to see what they have in store for us.
Me too. How about we take a look? Are you ready, Evelyn?
I'm ready.
All righty. Are you ready, everyone?
Hi guys, my name is Megan.
My name is Sarah.
And I'm Kate.
And we're a part of Engineers Without Borders at Boston University. We're all engineers and we're just gonna teach you a little bit about engineering.
So for today's challenge, we're going to be building the tallest tower that we can out of the 5 items that's closest to us. And then after we're done with that, we're going to talk about some of the things we did to make our tower work.
Okay, so look around you. Okay, ready, set, go.
And if you have extra time, you can build your tower bigger with more than 5 items if you want. Just FYI.
Are you in the Pringles bottle?
Yes, it's an empty Pringles can.
Look at Sarah's tower. That's pretty cool.
Okay, mine is very short.
Then I'll top it off with some hand sanitizer.
Oh, okay, time's up, everyone.
Okay, so I will show my tower. I used okay, so I used very flat things because I couldn't really find much. So I have a glass, my iPad, gum, some AirPods, and my phone. And it's pretty short. It's not very balanced.
I used a lot of squares, I guess. It's just like 2 cups. You can't really see it, but like a box underneath this and a box on top. So
Nice.
Okay. Okay. So at the bottom, I put a binder, and you can't really see it, but the binder wasn't full, so I put like a box of food coloring in between it to make it more flat. And then I have a bank here and a container of paper clips, a Pringles can, and then you can't see at the top, but there's a little thing of hand sanitizer. And what I basically did was I made my base really big, and then each layer was like slightly smaller, and this is what it is.
So let's talk about what we learned.
yeah, so if you guys have noticed within everyone's and your own tower, it's it should be very symmetrical. And symmetrical means that both sides of the tower, if you split it in half, it looks around the same, right? And we would like our buildings to be symmetrical because by having it very symmetrical and similar shape, the center of gravity is going to be in the center of the tower. And if by it being in the center of the tower, it's going to be balanced. The center of gravity is over to one side, then your building is going to fall a lot, right? So what helps this is having the bottom level being the biggest. So like Sarah's tower, like she said, the bottom was very large, and therefore her building is very stable, right? So yeah, and then last thing, don't put a lot of weight on the top, because once again, then the balance is going to kind of shift and your building will topple.
Yeah, I think mine was a good example of a bad tower because I used a small thing on the bottom and then I got bigger and it wasn't very balanced. So, but Sarah's was a good example.
Wow, I thought that was super cool. And we even got to see our engineer friends in action. And hey, engineering, sometimes it involves a little bit of improving, just like we had with our little video there. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but we got to see our engineer friends in action, which I thought was pretty cool. How about you, Evelyn? What did you think of this challenge?
Hey, Namisha, no worries. The internet's crazy nowadays. But I thought it was awesome. I love how Megan, Kate, and Sarah all had different types of towers, and they all use different materials to build these towers.
Yeah, that was definitely awesome. And we really can use anything to create science.
Namisha, I gotta say, I'm really in the mood to put my engineering cap on and try the challenge. What do you think?
I love that idea, and I totally think that we should do it. Well, young scientists, we would love for you to join us and build the tallest tower with us. For this experiment, just grab about 5 or so items around the house that you can stack on top of each other.
Young scientists, some ideas that you can grab are water bottles, cardboard, paper, any cans you have laying around the house. All right. Use the box of the dominoes, as we can see, as my base so it can create a stable bottom for my building to rest on. And this way, my tower had a less chance of falling.
That's awesome, Evelyn. So I was also looking at your tower, and I kind of noticed that it looks like the word that Kate was using. It was symmetrical from any angle that I looked from.
Yep, I did this on purpose because I know that Kate said if you look at your tower and pretend to split it in half, it should look like the same on both sides. This helps the building have a sturdy structure and not topple over onto one side. Basically, it keeps the tower completely balanced.
Well, Evelyn, I think that you did an awesome job, and I love the tower that you built. But I have one last challenge for you and our scientists at home. So scientists at home, be sure to write your guesses in the chat for this next game that we're going to play. So Evelyn, can you name the tallest building in the world?
In the world? Can I have a hint to where this building is?
Definitely. It's in a city called Dubai.
Dubai. Oh, is it the Burj Khalifa?
It sure is. Nice job. That was a super great guess, Evelyn. And this is a picture of it. And it's 828 meters tall. That is super, super tall. Yeah, Christina got it. Something in Dubai. Nice job, Christina. Wait, Evelyn. What's the picture next to the Burj Khalifa?
Wow. Take a guess. Young scientists, you're at home. I'll give you a couple seconds. I can give you a hint. This building is in our very own Boston.
Ooh. Oh, I think Christina guessed it. I wasn't too sure, but Christina helped me out. She said that it was a state house, and Mr. Music got it too. Woohoo! Wow, I noticed something about this building, Evelyn, that it looks symmetrical. It looks the same on both two sides. And I think that the builders, the engineers, did this on purpose.
Good observation. This building is called the Massachusetts State House. It is where all the really important laws are made for our very own state of Massachusetts.
Wow, that's so cool. And now we know a little bit about how the engineers who built the State House thought of the designs for the building. They made it very symmetrical on purpose to create balance.
Well, I had so much fun today learning about how buildings are structured and why they're built the way they are.
Me too, and I'm so glad that you joined us today, Evelyn, because it has been such a great episode of building and tower guessing challenges with you and all of our young scientists at home. Hannah, we love buildings too, and nice job, Christina, and everyone else at home. Clara Jane, thank you so much for joining as well.
Also, I want to give a special shout out to the BU Engineers Without Borders for teaching us all about engineer design structure. Thanks, BU. Gracias.
Yes, thank you, BU. And finally, a big thank you to National Grid. This episode of SCFG Live has been brought to you by National Grid, who supports Science Club for Girls' mission in making STEM exciting and accessible to all. Both National Grid and Science Club for Girls support girls and women in STEM and are working towards making STEM more diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Well, everyone, be sure to join us next week to learn the science about making homemade s'mores and, of course, to eat them. All right, everyone, this has been another great episode of
SCFG Live. We'll get it next time.
Adios.
Adios.